Prananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Sadasivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. With the abundant blessings of our Acharya Swamiji, we are continuing with our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita with emphasis on the commentary of Sri Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada. We are in chapter 17, Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. We were on shloka number 23 last evening. Om Tatsatiti Nirdeshaha Brahmanaha Trividha Smritaha Brahmanaha Tena Vedascha Yajnascha Vihitaha Pura. Pura means ancient times, we said. What is ancient times here? When Brahma started creation, when the first creation started, Brahmanas, Vedas and Yajnas were made with this chanting Om Tat Sat. So, a commentator has given the references from Vedanta, how these Om Tat Sat are important. Om iti Brahma, he says from Taittiriya Upanishad. Brahma is defined as Om. Tat Tvam Asi from Chandogya Upanishad. Tat Tvam Asi, that you are. Sadeva Saumya, Chandogya Upanishad again. Sadeva Saumya, you are always Sat, you are not this body. Sateva Saumya. Hey Saumya is the address to the disciple. Hey Saumya, you are always Sat, Sadeva Saumya. Ityadi Vedanteshu Brahmavidbihi Brahmanaha Trividaha Namanirdeshaha Smritaha. So like this in Vedantas, the three main references to Parabrahma have been given as mentioned here by Bhagavan. Om Tat Sat Yati Nirdeshaha Brahmanaha Nirdeshaha Trividaha Smritaha. Yajnadi sadgunyartham avashyam idam prayashchittam anushtheyam iti bodhanaye nirdesham stauti. Why this subject came up now? The subject came up because there would be deficiencies in our rituals, yajnas, etc., and they should attain fulfillment by this pronunciation. Prayashchittam, Anushtheyam. Now, why these three were chosen? Brahmanas, Vedas, and Yajnas. The whole creation is there. Why these three were specially chosen? Brahmanaha kartaraha, Vedaha karanani, Yajnaha karmani. Yajnas are the karmas. And Vedas are the tools with which you do the karma, karanani. Without Veda, no karma can be done. Yajna is the karma, Veda is the tool. And who is helping us to perform the yajna? Brahmana, because they are the experts in Vedas. So these three have been taken as the causes of performing yajna. Of course, it also goes to dana, because yajna, dana and tapas were singled out by Bhagavan for our spiritual advancement. Tapas is, of course, individual based. So, yajnas and dana, you need these three, Brahmanaha, Vedaha, Yajnaha. That is why they have been taken out separately, singled out separately, to be associated with Om Tat Sat. That is how the commentator explains. Om Tat Saditi Nirdesho Brahmana Trividha Smritaha Brahmana Tena Vedascha Yajnascha Vihita Pura. Next.
Tasmadomityudahritya yajnadana-tapah kriyaha pravartanti vidhanuktaha satatam brahmavadinam.
Now, he is going to explain, Bhagavan is going to explain the individual glory of each of these three, Om, Tat and Sat. the first he is taking Om. Tasmad, for this reason. Which reason? The reason is Parabrahman is denoted by Om. Tasmad. Hence, Om iti udahritye yajnadana tapaha kriyaha pravartante vidhanoktaha. Vidhanoktaha yajnadana tapakriyaha. As stipulated in Shastras, Vidhana Uktaha. Yajna, Dana and Tapas, those activities, Yajna, Dana and Tapas activities, pravartante or commenced or started with Om iti udahritya, with the chant of Om. No yajna, no dana, no tapas is started without chanting Om, isn't it? Om is the first. Om is the beginning, Om is the end of all chanting of Vedas. Hari, Om, then the chanting closes. So, Om is the beginning. Om iti udahritya pravartante, they are all started. Satatam, always. Brahmavadina, those who are associated with Brahman. Actually, Brahmavadi means one who speaks about Brahman, one who always meditates on Brahman. That is Brahmavadi. Brahmavadinam, those who maintain the doctrine of Parabrahman, they, by them, or started these activities, yajna, dana, and tapas, as stipulated in Shastras, with the chant of Om. That shows, that itself shows the glory of Om. So there's no need to further develop on the subject. There is a Subhashita here. Danam na dattam na tapascha tattam naraditau shankara vasudevau agnau raneva na hutascha kayaha sarira kim prarthayate sukhani. To tell us the glory of yajna, dana and tapas, this sloka is addressed to the body. The sloka is addressed to the body. Sharira, kim prarthayate sukhani. Why are you expecting, why are you praying for comfort when you have not done all this? When you have not done all this, how can you pray for comfort? This is the address to Sharira. What Sharira has not done? Danam nadattam, you never gave any dan. Na tapascha taptam, you never did any tapas. Naraditau shankara vasudevau, you never did puja, you never meditated on Shankara and Vasudeva. Agnau raneva hutashna hutascha kayaha. Okay, you have not done all this. At least have you sacrificed your body for the sake of some spiritual activity? Agnau raneva hutascha kayaha. You have not offered your body as ahuti, as offering in Agni or in a battlefield, Agnav Raneva, because these are the ways in which the glory of sacrifice of the body is mentioned in Shastras. Either you sacrifice your body in Agni for some spiritual good, or you sacrifice your body in a battlefield. That is where Kshatriyas, who sacrifice their body to get killed in the battlefield, always are assured of Viraswarga. So he is saying, how can you expect comfort when you have not done any of this? Similarly, there is a Niti Shatakam Shloka. Ati Rabhasakrtanam Karmanam Avipattehe Bhavati Hridayadahi Shalyatulyo Vipakaha. How you should do a karma? Because we are talking on the subject of karma, isn't it? Yajna, dana, and tapas, kriyaha, he says. What should be our way of doing a karma? Ati radhata kritana, with great urgency. See, all our karmas are maintained to be, or mentioned, expected to be done at a certain speed. You cannot rush because we are in a hurry always to complete something and go to the office or go take up some other mundane activity. We don't bother. We want to rush through the activities. That is not correct. Ati rabhasakritanam karmanam, those activities which are done with this kind of urgency, avipattehe bhavati hridayadahi shalyatulyo vipakaha. Vipakaha, karmanam vipakaha. When the karma goes for fruition, instead of giving you good, it will give you bad. Avipattehe, it will result in vipatti. It will result in harm. Bhavati hridayadahi shalyatulyaha. Shalyatulyaha, like an arrow piercing the heart. Hridayadahi, burning the heart. Like an arrow burning the heart, it will cause you harm. Avipattehe bhavati, it will cause you harm. So, do it as per rules. Do it with the proper speed. That is the idea. Atirabhatakritaanam karmanam avipattehe bhavati hridayadahi shalyatulyo vipakaha. This is how Bhartahari is teaching us how to do it. Tasmado mityudahritya yajnadana tapakriyaha pravartante vidhanoktaha satatam brahmavadinam. Next.
तदित्यनभिसन्धाय फलं यज्ञतपः क्रियाः दानक्रियाश्च विविधाः क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः.
Now the next syllable tat is taken up for discourse. Tat iti phalam anabhisandhaya. What is the what is denoted by tat? Parabrahma. So never expect any fruit. Always offer the fruit to Parabrahma. Phalam anabhisandhaya. Abhisandhi is looking for, expecting the fruit. So anabhisandhaya, do not expect the fruit. Yajnadana tapakriya, yajna tapakriyaha kriyante, vividaha dana kriyascha kriyante. Yajna, the kriyas of yajna, kriyas of tapas, and also kriyas of dana kriyascha. Vividaha, various types. There are various types of yajna, various types of tapas. Panchagni tapas, people were doing in ancient times. Agni, burning Agni in all the four directions, and burning Surya on the top, and this kind of torturing the body. That is one kind of tapas. When the rainy season comes, expose yourself to rain. When summer comes, expose yourself to Panchagni. When winter comes, expose yourself to cold. This kind of tapas. There are many types of tapas. Vividhaha tapas kriyaha. Similarly, many types of yajnas are mentioned in Vedas. Many types of dhanam we know even as of now. So all these vividhaha, yajna tapakriyaha, dana kriyascha, kriyante, they are all performed by whom? Moksha kankshibhihi. If you are expecting moksha, do not expect the fruit of that yajna, dana and tapas. Phalam anabhisandhaya moksha kankshibhihi. That is very important. If you are looking for fruit, Shastras mention fruit for every dhanam, every yajna, every tapas. Fruits are mentioned. But leave aside those fruits, offer the yajna, tapas, and dana to Bhagavan, then you will get moksha. Moksha kankshibhihi. If you are intent on moksha, this is what you should do. Moksharthibhihi, mumukshubhihi. Those who are called mumukshus, those who are called mumukshus, those who are intent on moksha, moksha kankshibhihi. Yeah. Now the Niti Shatakam. Yadhatra nijabhalapatalikitam stokam mahadvadhanam tatprapnoshi marusthale pinitaram merauchanatodhikam tadhiro bhava vittavatsu kripanam vrittim vridha magrithaha upe paschapayo nidhavapi ghato granhati tulyam jalam. Phalam anabhisandhaya, he says, no, that is being explained in this Niti Shataka. Because whatever is destined, this is very important. clause in our Shastras which we keep forgetting. Whenever we feel comfortable, whenever we feel miserable, we think it is due to something which we have done now. No. Whatever comfort, whatever misery we are experiencing are all due to our activities in our previous janmas. That is destined. That destiny you cannot avoid. Yes, if you do something extraordinarily punya karma, extraordinarily papa karma, that result will come soon, immediately, in this janma itself. That is an extraordinary case. That is an exceptional case. But normally, for an ordinary person, whatever comfort, whatever misery we are experiencing are all due to previous janmas activities. That is what is now being explained. So, don't expect any fruit for this karma, which you are now doing, but that will again accumulate to your account for the next janma. So, even if it is a punya karma, punya, accumulation of punya is of no use to you because you are moksha kamkshibihi. Yadhatra nijabhala pattalikitam dhatra. Dhatra means by Brahma. Brahma has written something on your forehead, bhala patta. He has written something. What he has written, stokam mahadvadhanam, what extraordinary praise by others, fame or extraordinary wealth, whatever he has written, tat prapnoshi, that you will definitely get. Marusthalepi, even if you are in a desert, how can you get praise or how can you get wealth? You will get. That is the benefit of destiny. Marusthalepi, even when you are alone in a desert, this will reach you. Yesterday we saw how a king, which was described in Raja Tarangani, how a king got cherry fruit in a place where you cannot get cherry fruit because Devadutas came and gave him. That is what will happen here. Tatprapnoshi marushalepi nitaram mero cha nathodhikam. Okay, if you are in a desert, you get whatever was destined. If I live in Meru mountain, it is full of gold. Will I get more than my destiny? No. Na ataha adhikam. You will not get more than what you. So this explains how we should look at our life. When wealth is there on all around us and we are not having wealth, that is Meru. We will not get wealth because we are not destined. Similarly, when there is poverty all around us, we have comfort. How? Because we are destined. So both he is giving. Tadhiro bhava vittavatsa kripanam vrittim vrita magratha tadhiro bhava. Hence maintain courage, maintain balance of mind, dhairya. Don't go and beg before rich people. Vittavatsa kripanam vrittim vittavatsu, those who are wealthy. Kripanam vrittim magratha. Don't go and show your dainya, your poverty in front of them. Don't extend your hands in beggary. That will not help you because you are not destined to get anything more. Vritha, that is waste. Don't do that wasted effort. Kupe paschapayo nidhavapi ghato grimhati tulyam jalam. Ghataha, if you take a pot to a well, you get pot full of water from the well. Okay, I go to ocean. Will I get more than that? No, because pot can have only that much. The content of the pot is the same, whether you draw it from the well or whether you draw it from the ocean. Payonidhi is ocean. Kupa is well. Kupe pasya payonidhavapi ghato grinhati tulyam jalam. Same amount of water is being. So similarly, whether you are stranded in a desert, whether you are living in Meru mountain, you will get the same amount of wealth and the same amount of recognition. Yadhatra nijabhala pattalikitam stokam mahadvadhanam tatprapnoshi marusthalepi nitaram erochanato tadhiro bhava vittavat kripanam vrittim vritha magrithaha upe pashyapayo nidhavapi ghato grinhati tulyam jalam. Pashya, he says, look, this is what it is. तदित्यनभिसन्धाय फलं यज्ञतपक्रियाः दानक्रियाश्च विविधाः क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः. Next.
सद्भावे साधुभावे च तदित्येतत् प्रयुज्यते प्रशस्ते कर्मणि तथा सच्छब्दः पार्थ युज्यते.
Now, he is taking the last one, Sat. What is the glory of Sat? Where it is used, in what context Sat is used? Sadbhave, asataha sadbhave. Even when something is non-existent, Sat is used for existence, and he is giving the examples. The commentators give examples like you are doing a puja for getting a son. You don't have santati. Santati is absent as of now at the time of doing the puja. So, santati is asat. But you are expecting sat. You are expecting santati. So, sadbhave, expecting sat, even when sat is not present, expecting something to happen, something good to happen. Sadhu bhave, similarly, when you want to say somebody is virtuous, then you use the word sadhu again. Sat इत्येतत् अभिधानं ब्रह्मणः प्रयुज्यते साधु भावः. If somebody is good, virtuous, then you say sat. If something you want to manifest, like that example, then also sat. So sat is for manifestation, existence, and also for virtue. So two independent meanings have been given for sat. Prasaste karmani, similarly, third independent meaning. Whatever karma is subject of praise, prasaste. Prasaste karmani vivaha, though, like vivaha he says, that is punya karma. Prasaste karmani is punya karma, like marriage, etc. Sat is always used. Sat shabdaha yujyate. The word sat is always used. He partha. These are the occasions when sat is commonly used. When you want to manifest something good, when you want to praise something as good, or when you are participating in a punya karma. These are the three occasions when sati is used. That shows what? That shows sati is a reference to Bhagavan. Eternal. Sat means eternal. Asat means transient. So the world around us is Asat. Bhagavan is Sat. We have seen it before. That is why he is called Sat Chit Anandam. So to remember Bhagavan, you can use the word Sat. In these contexts, it is generally used. That is what Bhagavan says. Sadbhave, sadhubhave cha sadityetat prayujyate. Sat iti etat prayujyate. Etat sat iti. This term sat. Prashaste karmani tatha sachabda parthayujyate. Next.
यज्ञे तपसि दाने च स्थितिः सदिति चोच्यते कर्म चैव तदर्थेयम् सदित्येवाभिधीयते.
यज्ञे तपसि दाने च स्थितिः सत् इति च उच्यते. What are the other contexts when sat is pronounced? Sat iti uchyate. Sat is pronounced. Doing yajna, doing tapas, doing dana. He didn't mention these three in the previous sloka. He said prasatte karmani, which was interpreted like vivaha, etc. Now he is going to a higher level because those were ordinary levels. A son being born, a person being praised as a virtuous man, or a ritual like vivaha, etc., or day-to-day mundane activities. Now he is going to a higher level. Yajna tapasi dane. When you are doing yajna, when you are doing tapas, when you are doing dana, sthitihi, to maintain stability. if you are maintaining stability, permanence, at least for some time, in that yajna, in that tapas, in that dana, that is called sat. Because sat refers to eternity, isn't it? Something which lives eternally is sat. Something which lives temporarily is asat. The basic definition. So you are invoking that sat, that eternity, that parabrahman, during yajna, during tapas, during dana, so that you are not disturbed during the process of yajna, tapas and dana. At least during the time which you are sitting doing this, you will not be disturbed. Sthiti hi. So for permanence, you have to go to Bhagavan because he is the only permanent. Karma chaiva tadartheyam sadityeva abhidhiyate. Sadityeva abhidhiyate. Another occasion when sati is being used is karma chaiva tadarthiyam. All activities promoting these three. Yajna tapas tadarthiyam means promoting these three. Tadarthiyam for the sake of yajna, for the sake of tapas, for the dana, for the sake of dana, whatever karma you are doing. That is the preliminaries, etc. Before you start yajna, you are accumulating all those materials, you are inviting the brahmanas to come, etc., etc. Similarly, for tapas, you have to choose the proper place, you have to prepare your mind, etc. You have to make preliminary arrangements. Similarly, dhanam. So, all these activities which are associated with yajna, tapas, and dhanam. The first one was maintaining. Having started, remains firm, remains steady. That was one. Now, even before starting, whatever activities you are doing, they are also associated with Sat. That means associating with Parabrahman is essential in all these karmas and shar. Now, he is at pains to explain why Parabrahman has to be remembered and what is the advantage of using these terms Om, Sat, and Tat. Yajne tapasi च स्थितिः सदिति चोच्यते कर्म चैव तदित्थीयं सदित्येवाभिधीयते.
अश्रद्धया हुतं दत्तं तपस्तप्तं कृतं च यत् असदित्युच्यते पार्थ न च तत्प्रीत्य नो इह.
Now he is going to conclude. Bhagavan is going to conclude this chapter, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. What was the starting point? Starting point was Shraddha. Because Arjuna's question was on Shraddha only. Now, Shraddha has been explained in great detail. There are three types of Shraddha, Sattvika, Rajasa, Tamasa, etc., etc. And Bhagavan added Yajna, Dana, and Tapas, and because they are the most important activities, and how those three also can be classified into Sattvika, Rajasa, and Tamasa, and also Manovakaya. He classified all that. And finally, he added, like an appendix, he added this Om, Tat, Sat. How to purify those Yajna, Dana, and Tapas. How to purify, because they may remain impure in spite of all our best activities. Tat etat yajnadana tapadi karma asatvikam विगुणमपि श्रद्धापूर्वकं ब्रह्मणः अभिधानत्रये प्रयोगेण सगुणं सात्विकं सम्पादितं भवति. This is the statement of Adi Shankara. He says all these yajna, dana, and tapas, asatvikam, they may be not fully sattva. Vigunam, they may not have all the gunas. But if you have Shraddha Purvakam, Brahmanaha Abhidhanatraya Prayogena, if you use these three terms, Om, Tat, Sat, Sagunam, Satvikam, Sampaditam Bhavati, it becomes Saguna, it becomes Satvika. Now, if you don't have Shraddha, because what was the qualification? Shraddha Purvakam. Shraddha is the basic thing. So that Shraddha should be Satvika Shraddha. If you have Tamasa Shraddha, it is of no use. Now, having said that, now he closes the chapter by emphasis on that concept of Shraddha. Ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kritam chayat asadityuchyate partha nachatad pretyano ihe. Ashraddhaya hutam. Hutam is whatever is offered in Agni, Ahuti, that is Yajna. If you are doing anything, any offering in Agni with Ashraddha, without proper Shraddha, Dattam, whatever dana you do, all this has been defined in great detail by Bhagavan earlier. Now he is summarizing, closing. If you do dana without Shraddha, tapas taptam, if you do tapas without proper Shraddha, not only these three, Yajna, Dana, and Tapas have been mentioned repeatedly, so he took up these three. Kritam cha yat, whatever you do, whatever punya karma you want to do, whatever karma you want to do to please Bhagavan, whatever. Other than these three also, going to temple. Going to temple itself is going and doing puja there may be coming under Sota. But preliminaries corresponding to all these activities, etc., also comes under category of kritam cha yat. Whatever you do in association with all these punya activities, if you do it with ashraddha, asat ityuchyate partha, that is called asat. It is not sat. Even if you chant Om Tat Sat, it will not become Sat. It will not become Sat by simply chanting Om Tat Sat as a ritual. It is still become Asat only. Asat means no use, ineffective, as if it is not done. That is Asat. Why? Mat prapti sadhana marga bhashyatvat, Shankara explains. Because I have given, Bhagavan says, I have laid out in Shastras the rules for attaining me, mat prapti sadhana, marga, those paths have been defined. Bhashyatvat, you have gone out of those paths. You are not following those paths. Because of that, because you have not shown proper shraddha to follow the rules, your activity is all useless, waste, asat. Okay, it is waste, but will it help in any way, either here or afterwards, after I leave the body? Nachatat pretya no iha, no iha. Here in this world, pretya, after leaving the body, nachatat, it will not help. It will not help. It will continue to remain asat during your life on this earth and after, in your afterlife, after leaving the body here. Sadhubihi linditatvat, Shankara is adding, because virtuous people are not going to appreciate your work, because all our work should be applauded by virtuous people. Vedic scholars and other such Shastra scholars, etc., should say, yes, your lingya, your dana, your tapas is good, well done. That will never happen if you are not having proper Shraddha. Sadhubihi ninditatvat. You are inviting the ninda, criticism of sadhus. Then how can it be useful either here or in the next world? Bahula ayasamapi. You might have put in extraordinary effort. You might have spent a lot of money. You might have made a lot of arrangements. You have put in tremendous amount of resources, time. Bahula ayasam api. Even then, because you didn't have Shraddha, you didn't follow the rules, you didn't have faith in Shastras and Guru Vakya. Because of that, all your effort has gone waste. So he is closing this chapter with a warning so that the importance of Shraddha is driven home. Kritam, Stuti Namaskaradi. What is the fourth activity? Kritam. So commentator explains, another commentator, Stuti Namaskara, the Namaskara, the Stuti, etc., which you perform. Then there is a Niti Shataka sloka. Sthalyam Vaiduryamayam Pachati Tilakana Chandaneir Indhanogaihi Sauvarnair Langalagraihi Vrikati Vasudham Arkamulasya Hetoho Kritva Karpura Khandan Vritimiha Gurute Kodravanam Samantat Prapye Mam Karma Bhumim Acharati Manujo Yastapo Mandabhagyaha. Mandabhagyaha, that fellow having very bad fortune, very bad luck. That's from the night. The man who is having the bad destiny, what does he do? Sthalyam Vaiduryamayyam Pachati Tilakalam. Tilakana. He takes a vessel for cooking tila, for cooking tila. For that, what does he choose? He chooses a vessel made of Vaidurya. That means what? He will put in a lot of resources where it is not required. That is the idea. Salyam Vaiduryamayam Pachati Tilakana. For you, for cooking tilakana, tila, he is using a vessel made of Vaidurya. चान्दनैरिन्दगौघैः सवर्णैर्लाङ्गुलाग्रैः विलिखति वसुधाम् अर्कतूलस्य हेतोः. When he cooks, what is the firewood he uses? He uses chandana firewood, sandalwood. He is using Indra plenty of sandalwood he is using for just cooking tilas. सवर्णैर्लाङ्गुलाग्रैः अर्कतूलस्य हेतोः वसुधाम्. Vasudham likhati. He goes and writes on the rock. There are inscriptions on the rock, etc. For if you want to do an inscription on the rock, will you use Savarnair Langalagrehi? Will you use the golden implement? Arkamulasya hetoho. For getting something which is very insignificant. Arkatulasya, Arkamulasya. Like Arka plant. What you want to get is an Arka plant. And what you are doing is writing on rock with golden spoon, golden implement. Similarly, Kritva Karporakhandan Vritimihe Kurute Godravanam Samantat Chaturdisham Asmin Jivaloke Samantat. In this world, Karporakhandan Vritimihe Kurute, the pieces of camphor, by using pieces of camphor, will you be able to protect somebody? Godravanam Samantat. You want to protect your family with the use of, your profession is selling camphor. Will you be able to do? You will not be able. Prapye mam karma bhumim na charati manujaha yastapo mandabhagyaha. So, prapye imam karma bhumim, having attained this karma bhumi, this Bharata Desha, manujaha yaha tapaha na charati, that man who is not performing tapas. These are the examples for that mandabhagya man, whose fortune is ill written by Brahma. So that man, he doesn't want to do tapas, having attained karma bhumi, this Bharata Desha, the three examples are being given. How you are using your valuable resources for attaining insignificant ends. That is the idea. Sthalyam Vaiduryamayam Pashati Dalaganan Chandanairindamogaihi Sauvarnairlangulagrair Vilikati Vasudham Akatulatyaveto Chatva Karpurakhandan Vrittimihe Kurute Kodravana Samanta Prapye Mam Karma Bhumim Vichalati Manujo Yastapo Madhavakhyaham अश्रद्धया हुतं दत्तं तपस्तप्तं कृतं च यत् असदित्युच्यते पार्थ असतत्प्रेत्य मोहिः. So this concludes this chapter 17. इति श्री महाभारते शतसाहस्र्यां संहितायां वैयासिक्यां भीष्मपर्वणि श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे श्रद्धात्रयविभागयोगो नाम सप्तदशोऽध्यायः. So this concludes chapter 17, where the three kinds of Shraddha were taken up for detailed analysis. Now we go to chapter 18, the concluding chapter, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. How moksha can be attained only through sannyasa. That is the subject which is being taken. Because after all, what is the purpose of this whole Bhagavad Gita exercise? Moksha. Moksha kankshibhihi, he said. So, that moksha can be attained only through sannyasa, only through sacrifice of mundane comforts. That is the subject. I want to retain my mundane comfort. I want to attain Bhagavan. No, that is not possible. That subject is the summary of the entire Gita Shastra. So, when at the preliminary remark, what Shankara says, Sarvasyaiva Gita Shastrasya Arthaha Asmin Adhyaye Upasamhritya. The entire Tatparya, entire content of Gita Shastra has been summarized in this chapter. Sarvasya Vedarthaha Vaktavyaha. Not only that, not only he has summarized the content of all the chapters, he has also summarized the important Vedartha, content of the Vedas. Ityevamasthaha ayam adhyayah arabhyate. With that proposal, this chapter is begun. Sarveshu atiteshu adhyayeshu uktaha arthaha asmin adhyaye avagamyate. Whatever has been mentioned in all the previous chapters has been brought out again in brief. Arjunastu sannyasa tyaga shabdarthayoho eva vishesham bhutsuku uvacha. At this point, when Bhagavan is going to summarize all the content of the earlier chapter, including important contents of the Vedas, Arjuna is asking a question. So that question, the answer to that question enables Bhagavan, because Bhagavan only must have prodded the question. Otherwise, how does the question come? The very idea of asking the question comes from Bhagavan, so that he can summarize the entire Gita. So Arjuna is asking this question. Yeah.
Arjuna uvacha sannyasasya mahabaho tattvamichhami veditum tyagasya cha hrushikesha पृथक् केशिनिषूदन.
He is addressing Bhagavan using three terms. Look at that. Mahabaho, Srishikesha, Keshinishudana. Because this question which he is asking is something extremely tough. Very subtle question he is asking. So that question can be answered only by a person who has these qualifications. Mahabahu, physical valor, powerful arms. Krishikesha, you may have powerful arms, but you will use them for wrong purposes. Krishikesha, one who has conquered his sense organs. Krishikanam Eshaha. Keshinishudana, Krishna in his Bala Leelas killed an asura called Keshi, who came in the form of a horse. That Keshi. What he did as a child, he put his hand through the mouth of that Keshi, reached right up to his intestines, and split him into two. He killed him by splitting him into two. Why? This is important here. It is important because one who has conquered Maya and he is capable of explaining subtle Vedanta points. Keshi is Maya here. So, one who has killed Maya, one who has got over Maya, conquered Maya, is Keshinushuda. So he says, You are the best for explaining this. That is how he is starting with these three address forms. What is the question he is asking? Sannyasasya tattvam veditum ikshami. I want to understand. Veditum ikshami, I want to understand the reality behind the term sannyasa. Sannyasasya tattvam. What is the tattva? What is the reality? What is the essential principle of the term sannyasa? Similarly, you are using the term tyaga. Tyagasya cha tattvam veditum ikshami. I also want to know the reality behind the term tyaga. Why this question came? Because the question came because sannyasa and tyaga are two terms which have been used by Bhagavan many times in all these 17 chapters. Sometimes he uses the term sannyasa, sometimes he uses the term tyaga. What is the big difference between these two? That is the question. पृथक इतरेतर विभागतः I want to know पृथक he says no त्यागस्य घृषिके पृथक पृथक means separately. What is the separate meaning of the word sannyasa? What is the meaning separately explain? Tyaga. Now, before we go further in this chapter, Shankara has gone into great detail in explaining the next few slokas that we must understand. Now, what is the prelude to all this? The prelude is this question is applicable only to karma yogis, not to jnana yogis. This is the very important point which Shankara makes. By studying all the shlokas which follow this shloka, the answer to this shloka, what is the question aimed at? Whom the question is aimed at? Question is not aimed at sannyasis. Jnana yogena sankhanam, karma yogena yoginam. Bhagavan said right at the beginning of chapter 3. I have got two types of people. Those who are sankhya jnanis, for them jnana yoga. Those who are karmis, for them karma yoga. He said that. This classification, the whole thing started with that. So the first group of sannyasis, those who are jnanis, we are not talking about them. But the question is the difference between the term sannyasa and tyaga, and you are excluding sannyasis. What is the idea? That is the subject being taken up in the next few slokas. The summary of the next few slokas is there is practically no difference between sannyasa and tyaga as far as karma yogis are concerned. As far as jnana yogis are concerned, they have dropped all the karmas. Their only activity is meditation on Bhagavan. So that is why they are called sannyasis, having dropped everything mundane. Now, when it comes to karma yogis, you cannot drop karmas. You can only drop the fruit of karma. So that point is coming up again because this chapter is a summary of all the previous chapters. Sometimes certain concepts have been explained in isolation, like three types of shraddha, three types of gunas, gunatraya, satvika, rajasa, tamasa, etc. They have been explained in isolation. Now, how all those will come for practical use for a karma yogi, that is the subject being exhaustively dealt with. That is why this chapter 18 is quite lengthy, because he is summarizing, encompassing all the various concepts together in one. He is weaving all those thoughts together in one cloth. So, we will go to the next shloka, then we will understand all these concepts better. अर्जुन उवाच सन्न्यासस्य महाबाहो तत्त्वमिच्छामि वेदितुम् त्यागस्य च हृषीकेश पृथक् केशिनिषूदन.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Kamyan Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam Sanyasam Kavayo Viduhu Sarva Karma Phalatyagam Prahustyagam Vichakshanaha.
Now he is answering the question by quoting others. Bhagavan is answering the question by quoting certain authorities. He does not agree with those authorities. He is going to give his own view later on. But he is starting with that citation because that thought has spread in the society, so he wants to mention that. But how it is not correct, he is going to say later on. Kamyanam karmanam nyasam sannyasam kavayaha viduhu. Kavayaha, those who know, those who are experts, those who are panditas. Viduhu, they say, what they say? Sannyasam is to be defined as kamyanam karmanam nyasam, abandonment, relinquishing. Nyasam is relinquishing, abandonment of kamya karmas. Because karmas are defined in three categories we have seen. Nitya, Naimittika, and Kamya. Nitya karma is to be performed all the time, every day, every time. That is Nitya karma, like Sandha Vandanam, etc., etc. Deva Puja, etc., etc. Pancha Maha Yajnas have to be performed every day. These are Nitya karmas. Naimittika karmas, which come occasionally, and those occasions are specified in Shastras, and you must perform on those occasions, like Amavasya, you do a Shraddha. When the Tithi comes, you do a Shraddha. When a particular occasion comes, you do a particular puja. Krishna Janmashtami, you do a particular puja at 12 o'clock in the night. All these is specified in Shastra. They are all Naimittika. There is a third category of karma, which is Kamya karma, which is driven by desire. I want to achieve a certain end. I want to get Putra Santati. I want to get a son. I want to get wealth. I want to get a promotion. I want to get over my sickness. All these various desires are there in us, and we go and ask those who know Shastras, what yajna should I perform, what homam should I perform, what puja should I perform. They give us some answer and we do those. Nothing wrong with that. That is why it is permitted in Shastras. Nothing wrong with that for that fulfillment of the temporary purpose. But that will not help you in the long term spiritual advancement, which is our subject. So do not do those kamya karma. Let the body take its course. Let the destiny take its course. Whatever is destined, we saw in the previous sloka, whatever is destined will come to you in any case. So don't look for something unnecessarily. That is the idea of these panditas. They say, do not do any kamya karma. That is called sannyasa, according to them. We are not talking about sannyasis who are jnana yogis. That is in this context only, but Shankara is explaining. Because if you take that, the question of kamya karma doesn't arise. They have abandoned all karmas. Nitya karma, naimittika karma, kamya karma, all karma they have abandoned. They have relinquished. So this answer refers to only karma yogi. Being a karma yogi, if you want to advance on the path of moksha, you should at least start by dropping kamya karma. This is the opinion of some people. Some others, they use the term tyagaha. Rahus tyagam vichakshanaha, those who are scholars. Those who are kavayaha, vichakshanaha both mean more or less the same. Vichakshana is analysis. Those who are capable of great analysis. So what do they say? They call something as tyaga. What do they call? Sarva karma phala tyagam. You may do any activity, including kamya karma. You may do any activity, but when you do that activity, do not look for the fruit. Drop the fruit. If you do that, that is called tyaga. Tyaga is dropping the fruit. Sannyasa is dropping the karma. That is the basic definition, which is correct. Sannyasa is dropping the karma. Tyaga is dropping the fruit. That basically is correct. But the process which are applied along with that is not correct according to Bhagavan, which he will explain in the next few slokas. So he says, opinion of some people is sannyasa is dropping of kamya karmas. And some other scholars say that you can do all the karmas as long as you drop the fruit. That is called tyaga. Because they want to differentiate between these two, they are using two different terms. But actually, both are relinquishing. Either you relinquish the kamya karma or you relinquish the fruit. This is the idea which is contained in the views of so many people. Now, the kamyanam karmana is being explained as by Madhusudana Saraswati. He is giving beautiful explanation. Antakarana shuddhau anupayuktanam ishti pashu somadinam. Shankara says Ashwamedhadinam, because you can perform yajnas like Ashwamedha, etc., for achieving a certain fruit. That is Kamyakar. So Madhusudana Saraswati also says, Antakarana Shuddhau Anupayuktanam. They are not useful for purifying your mind, Antakaran. All karmas should be aimed at purifying the mind. If you do a karma which does not help in purifying the mind, what is the use of that karma? Don't do it. So that is the idea, Kamya karma. Ishti, Pashu, Somati, Nam. He is giving the examples of Ishti. So certain types of yajnas are called Ishti, Pashubandham, Somayajnam, etc. Somayas, etc. Now he is giving those examples. And in this context only, Shankara has explained in great detail that these shlokas apply only to karma yogis, not to sannyasis. As I mentioned in the previous shloka conclusion, he has gone to great extent, he has debated at length because some scholars have opined in a different manner. So he wants to, in his own usual debating manner, he has debated in great detail. We will not get into the debate, but the conclusion is important. Conclusion is that these shlokas, these ideas given by Bhagavan, do not apply to jnanis and sannyasis. They have already dropped all the karmas. These apply to karma yogis. And among karma yogis, again, there are two types of people who have different opinions. Those opinions are being mentioned here. But Bhagavan is not going to agree. That we will see. Kamyanam karmanam nyasam sannyasam kavayo viduhu sarvakarma phalatyagam pradustyagam vichakshanaha.
त्याज्यं दोषवदित्येके कर्म प्राहुर्मनीषिणः यज्ञदानतपः कर्म न त्याज्यमिति चापरे.
Some other people. Now he is giving some more views. Manishinaha, they are also great people. They are not ordinary people. Manishinaha, they are all great people. Some great people. He is not quoting any ordinary authority. They are all real authorities in Vedas and Shastras. Eke Manishinaha, some people who are great scholars, Prahuhu, they say, what they say? Karma Tyagyam Doshavat. Any activity has got its defects. There cannot be any activity without defects. So all karmas should be dropped. This is their idea. This is the route to Jnana Marga. This is the route to Jnana Marga, but it is dangerous for a karma yogi because he is not qualified for that. He is not qualified for that. Those people are giving this wrong idea. What is the wrong idea? Wrong idea which they are giving is all karmas should be dropped because they are defective. Karma doshavat iti tyajyam. कर्म बंध हेतुत्वात् सर्वमेव अथवा दोषः यथा रागादिः त्यज्यते तथा त्याज्यम्. Shankara explained. Because it is going to result in bondage, you should drop it. And you may be doing the karma because of attachment, etc. So that is the dosha. It is going to develop your attachment. What is the use of that? So these are the various reasons why karma should be dropped according to them. Now some others, apare means some others. Natyajyam, no karma should be dropped. Which karma should not be dropped? Yajnadana tapak karma natyajyam. that karma, which is yajna, dana and tapas, should never be dropped. This is their idea. The first group of people said all karmas should be dropped because they are all defective. They will promote your bondage, they will promote your attachment to mundane activities, mundane desires. So don't do any karma. That is one view. Another view, all are scholars, all are great people. They say yajna, dana and tapas must be done. Anatyajyam, they should not be dropped because they are going to promote your advancement on the spiritual line. So that is their idea. So Bhagavan is going to give his view in the next few slokas. We have to stop now for today. Tyajyam dosha vajatyeke karma prahurmanishinaha yajnadana tapat karma natyajyam iti chapare. We will continue with this study next Saturday at 7:30 p.m. IST as usual. Any questions?
Anyone has any questions? Kindly unmute and ask, sir. No questions, sir.
No questions. So we close for the day and we meet again next Saturday at 7:30 p.m. CST. Namah Parvati Pate Hara Hara Mahadeva Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam Govinda Govinda Sri Rajarajeshwarya Jaya Jaya.
Thank you everyone for joining. Hara Hara Shankara, Jai Jai Shankara. We'll meet next week.